So today we are going to learn Java. Java is a programming language, and especially object-oriented programming language. And it's a very popular and high-level programming language, mainly used in uh, desktop application development and web application development. And it's also widely used in enterprise applications also. So suppose if any company want to create any project for an enterprise application, by default first choice will be Java. So it's very important to learn Java for any type of web development. Suppose if we have to develop any EMR, we have to develop our microservices, our registration or visit appointment model. That time our first choice will be Java. So today we are going to learn about Java, how to install, how to write down Java codes, different features of Java. And in today afternoon or maybe day after tomorrow, we will learn about Java web application, JSP programming, servlet, and Spring MVC and JPA. So today first we will start from basic of Java. So the main feature of Java is it's object oriented. As we already discussed, object oriented means we can write down small modules or small codes and we can reuse that code part. So if we are writing some code snippet, we can reuse that code. Suppose if we are writing one Java class about employee, then we can reuse that code in manager class also.
We are not.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Raghav, now you can hear?
Yeah, it is better with.
Okay, ma'am. The main feature of Java is platform independent. So suppose if I have any Linux system and I'm writing any code, and after compilation, if I have to use same code, then I can use it on Windows also, Mac also. That's the main feature. So Java provide JVM, virtual machine. So if we are writing code on any platform, it can be run on any other platform also. It's the biggest feature of Java. But same thing if we are writing on C or C++, it's difficult. But with Java, it's very easy. It's part of program, and when we are compiling anything, we are mainly using Java virtual machine. So we can run same code on any platform, Linux, Ubuntu, or Red Hat, or Windows 10, or Mac OS. Java is very simple to learn. If anyone can understand basic concept of OOPS, then it's very easy to learn. Java is by default very secure. So normally it's virus free, temper free, and it's also provide key signing using authentication authorization based on public-private key. Same thing, it's architectural natural and it's portable. So Java was created under Sun Microsystem, and Gosling was the main programmer who created this Java programming language, and it's released under General Public License (GPL). And now Sun Microsystem is under Oracle subsidiary. So for Java programming, we need compiler, mainly Java JDK compiler. And minimum requirement is for Java 5 up to Java 5, it's 128 MB RAM. And for Java 8, we need 256 MB of RAM. Uh, Java, we can write down Java program on any operating system, Linux, Windows, even Windows 95. And for Java compiler, we have to download and install JDK 5. And for writing program, we need any notepad or any text editor where we can write down that code and we can compile. So for writing any Java program, first we have to download JDK. So when we will search JDK, Java JDK in Google search, it will give Oracle website address. So let's so this one is web address. From this page, we can select our JDK. So this one is a different operating system. So for Windows, we have to choose this one. JDK 8U241. Here 8 is our Java 8 version, and this one is Windows 64 version. So when we will click on this one, it will ask for username, password, Oracle sign-in detail. And once we will provide, we can download it freely. After download, we have to install this in our system. It's a normal installation where we are clicking on this one, and after that we are selecting the folder. And after that, we can install this in our system. But after installation, we have to set path of compiler. So when we are installing Java JDK, and after JDK installation, when we are writing any code in our compiler, then compile time, this system or this window command needs to know the path of JDK. So after installation, we will provide path information to window property. So for that purpose, suppose I have installed JDK in my C folder. So after installation, this one is my Java installation. So after installation, we have this JDK created one folder inside program file, inside window. Now we have to set a path. For path setting, we will go to Windows C or in our computer. We will click on properties. This one we have advanced system setting. We'll click on advanced system setting. After that, we have to click on environment variables. In environment variables, we have two different type of window. One is for variable for current login user, like this one is system variable. So usually we provide a Java home constant where we provide path up to that JDK folder. So whenever we are running any type of server, like Apache Tomcat server, or when we are running Eclipse server or Maven library, that time it will search for this Java underscore home variable name. And from that variable name, any library that requires Java will look into JDK path, or it will look into where it's installed compiler. So in first part we have to create new. Here we have to provide Java home. In variable value we have to provide the path. So suppose this one is our path up to this JDK. We will copy this and we have to provide this. And after that, you have to click on OK, and this Java home will this variable and value system will create. So this one is path up to our JDK folder. Now we have to provide path up to Java JDK B. In system path, here we will provide Java home, and after that we will provide slash and up to B. So this part is very important, and if we will not provide this path information in window properties, then this command, this Java C will not work. Like this one. So for this Java C command, for compiling any Java program, we need to set up this. After that in path, we will provide this Java home and B. So any question, Raghav, Apurva, Akriti, any confusion in this setup?
सर हम भी साथ साथ कर लें क्या एक बार
लैपटॉप में अगर वो कर सकते हो तो कर लो, क्योंकि इसके बिना एक भी जावा प्रोग्राम रन नहीं कर पाएगा. So बेसिक यही है, डाउनलोड के बाद नॉर्मल सॉफ्टवेयर के इंस्टॉल करना है, लेकिन हमें ये सिस्टम पाथ बताना होगा. विंडो में जहां हम प्रॉपर्टी सेट करते हैं सिस्टम पाथ में, वहां बताना होगा. और नॉर्मली और जितने भी अभी देख सकते हो अपाचे मावेन के लिए या माइक्रोनॉट के लिए, सबके लिए हमें वैसे भी पाथ सेट करना ही होता है. तो ये प्रोग्रामिंग नॉर्मल है, इसमें पाथ सेट करना होता है, हमें बताना होता है कि वो वेरिएबल कहाँ है, जावा होम कहाँ पे है हमारा इंस्टॉल, तो करना होगा.
ठीक है सर
ये पता है ना कि प्रॉपर्टीज कैसे सेट करते हैं विंडो में, इससे पहले कभी किया?
सर जावा तो इंस्टॉल नहीं किया पहले कभी.
नहीं, कभी ऐसे किसी भी और प्रोग्राम के लिए इन्वायरमेंट वेरिएबल सेट किया हो?
नहीं सर, ऐसा तो मैंने तो नहीं किया सर, बाकी नहीं करा होगा.
देखो सबसे पहले जो कंप्यूटर आइकॉन है उसके प्रॉपर्टीज में जाने पे हमें ये एडवांस सिस्टम सेटिंग आता है. एडवांस सिस्टम सेटिंग पे क्लिक करने पे हमारे पास इन्वायरमेंट सिस्टम प्रॉपर्टीज में सबसे नीचे इन्वायरमेंट वेरिएबल्स पे क्लिक करने पे ये विंडो आता है. ये मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट है जावा कंपाइलर रन करने के लिए.
हाँ जी सर.
मैं आगे बढ़ूं, समझ में आया?
हाँ जी सर.
और अगर गूगल सर्च भी करोगे जावा होम पाथ सेट, तो वो सारे सेटिंग आ जाएंगे. Setting will be different for Windows and Linux system and Mac system. So you have to verify based on your operating system. You have to set your path. So after this path setup, Java path setup, for writing Java code, you will need one text editor, text file, something like Notepad plus plus, or maybe normal Notepad, normal not window default Notepad also you can use. But for as a programmer, for professional programming, you can use any ID also. Something like Eclipse or NetBeans. So in my system, this one is Eclipse. For Eclipse also, you can search Eclipse. Eclipse also, we have a different type of packages. You have to select Eclipse ID for Java developer, Windows, Mac, or Linux. Or you can choose Enterprise Java Developers Edition also. So suppose if you have to write down servlet code or JSP code or any web-based code you have to write down or you have to use Tomcat server, that time you will use this Eclipse for Enterprise Edition. For normal Java programming, you can use this Eclipse ID for Java developer. Choose your operating system, click on that one, and you will get this Eclipse. So if Java is installed, then just as any other Windows software, you can install your Eclipse. And when you will open your Eclipse, you will get something like this window. In this one, any doubt about Eclipse or this ID, Raghav?
No, sir.
Approval? So this Eclipse just provides us one very good looking window where we can write down code. In this code, we are also getting this colorful, like in this, if you can say public class, it's red. These comments are green. System out println and different method like out and hello world showing blue. So such type of ID will help you to write down code easily. It will give you different like its comment, different color. If it's method, it will show you in a different color. It will also provide you a task list right side. Bottom side you can see console. In left side you can see all your codes systematically arranged as a file. So for any coding part, you can use this ID for coding. So this one is our first Java program. So we will in this program we will learn about basic syntax. So in our first Java program, we are going to print hello world. This one is very simple, simplest program. Where we are doing nothing, just we are printing hello world. So when we will write down this code and when we will compile this code, it will print hello world. So when we have to start writing this code, first we have to define a class name. In this one we have a class name as my first Java program. So start with public. Public is this class, the public. So any other class can access this class. So public, after it it's a class is a keyword, and after it we provided the name for this class. So For us, for compiler or for saving file, we need some name. So when we will save this, then we will save this as a my first Java program .txt or .java. And also suppose if any other class want to call this class, that time they will call using this name. That's why first important thing is we will provide a class name. So this one is public class my first Java program. After that it's a comment. So it's always a good practice to provide a comment. Comment will provide some information about class. So in this one we provided some information like this is my first Java program and this will print hello world as output. After that we provided one method, the public static void main. And in this method we provided argument that one is string args. So whenever we are writing any class, main class, that time we have to provide this. So it's more like something we are writing for JVM, for compiler. So every compiler will read this line and after this line it will start executing method. So this line, public static void main, we have to provide. Every main class we have to provide this one. It's for JVM. So in this method, it's not defined by us. It's not doing anything specific to us. It's for JVM, and we have to provide this. So after this method also we call the main method. We provided what we really means in this program we want output as a hello world. So after that we provided system out println. And after that, they provided hello world as a string. So as you can see, it's hello world is quoted. It's a string. And this system out println is the main program or code we provided in this one that will print this hello world. So this one is our first basic Java program. So after writing this one in this Eclipse or any notepad, suppose if we have to write down this in notepad, that time using any simple notepad, is any text editor, even if it's suppose this text document also, we can write down this program. You can also use this. This one also we can write down. And after that we can rename this. So, my first Java program. But we have to provide extension this as a Java. This one also the same thing, like if you have this program named as my first Java program, then you will provide this notepad or this text file as my first Java program.java. And in from command prompt, you have to type Java C. After that, you have to provide that file name with extension. Means not only this my first Java program, you have to provide complete name my first Java program.java. And Java C is a compiler command. So if we will use Java C and then its file name, then it will compile it. This command will compile this Java program, and we will get a compiled bytecode Java file. For running this Java file, we have to write down Java, and after that we can provide only class name. This in next command we are not providing any extension. So when we will run this command, Java, my first Java program, it will print hello world. This part, this system.println part, it will print. So for running any Java program, we have to save that one. In text editor, we have to provide that extension as Java. Using Java C, we will compile that class, Java class, and using Java, we will run that Java. This one is our first Java program. Any problem, Raghav? Any doubt? Apurva? Anyone? अच्छा ये maybe in folder you may have to you may have to check this for file name extension. So suppose in your laptop, maybe if you are creating any next text file, text document, it may be uh, only coming as a new text document, not as a new text document.txt. So for this extension, file extension, you may have to check this. So in folder option, in view, you have to go to folder option. This item checkbox after this file name extension. File name extension by default it's unchecked. If it's unchecked, you cannot see the complete extension. So you have to check this one also. After you will check this one, you will start getting this extension. So it will be easier for renaming it as a Java part, as extension part. So now it's easy. Name it. So now after running our first Java class, we will now start in real way, we will start learning about syntax. So in Java program or in this program, whatever we are writing, we have to be very careful because Java is case sensitive. So if instead of hello, if we are writing with a small hello, small h, it will be completely different meaning. So whenever we are writing anything in Java, we have to be very careful. In this program, when we provided this public class, my first Java program, this M is capital. Whenever we are writing in Java class, the first letter should be uppercase. So it's not like we can provide class name with a small one. Normally, compiler will compile that file, but it will complain also that it's a lowercase. So we have to provide uppercase. And after this M capital, we provided J as capital also and P also as a capital. So it's a camel case. In camel case, we provide the first letter of every word as a capital. So in my first Java program, M is capital, F is capital, J is capital, P is capital. So after defining a class name, when we are defining method name, like public static void main, all method names we start with lowercase. So this our public static void main. Method name is M main. This main first letter M is small. After that program file name, when we are saving that file, that time we have to exactly match our program file name with the class name. So if instead of my first class name, if my class name is hello world, then we will save that file as a hello world.java. And for every program, we have to provide public static void main. If we will not provide public static void main, JVM will not compile that Java class main. So for syntax, basic syntax, these are rules we have to follow, like capital, small, and file name. After that, we have Java identifiers. So whenever we are writing Java programs, we have to provide different names, class, variable, method name. That names we call identifier. So apart from class or method name, we have to provide variable name also, constant name also. A lot of time we provide interface name. So that time we can use any letter from A to Z, currency character, underscore. After first character, we can provide any identifier, any convenience of character. In Java, we have some reserved keywords. Every program keep a few means around 20, 30, 40 keywords as a reserve that only program or compiler will use. As an end user, we cannot use that as an identifier. So Java also provided one complete list that we cannot use as an identifier. That reserved for system. Only compiler can use. That keyword cannot use as an identifier. Almost all identifier are case sensitive. So example of legal identifier, age, salary, value, such type of variable we can provide. Suppose we have to store salary information of any employee, that time we can provide such type of name or variable. But we cannot provide 1, 2, 3 ABC as a variable or minus salary or this hyphen and salary as a variable name. So after identifier in our program, you will see a lot of place we use something like public static void main or public class. So why we use this public keyword? So for that purpose, we have modifiers. Modifier also we have two different type of modifier: access modifier and non-access modifier. In access modifier, we have default public protected private. So in basic sense, when we are saying access modifier, we are defining how any other class will access that class, or if it's method, how other class method or how other class object will interact with that method. So suppose if we provide identifier access modifier as public, it means anyone can access. When we provide it default, that means we are not providing any access modifier. We just provided method name. When we are saying protected, that time only package, Java package can access. That package we will read in the next chapter. When we are saying private, that time uh, only that class. Means in suppose in hello world class we provided a private method. That time only other methods or object from that class can read or access that method. No other class can access or call that method. That's private. In non-access modifier, sometime when we define variable, we can also provide modifier like final, abstract, or strict FP. Suppose if we are providing one variable name and we want it like constant. So once any value assigned to that variable should not be changed. That time we provide as a final. So that one is non-access modifier. So in Java we have two different types of modifier, access modifier and non-access modifier. So after that access modifier we have variables. Variable means where we are storing values. So suppose very simple example is name, email ID. Suppose we have to provide in Java string first name, string last name, or string email ID, or int age, where we provide like age 32, or name Ved Prakash, or email ID Ved.prakash at the rate of XSH. That field, that's hold that value called variables. In variables also we have local variables, class variables, and instance variable. When we provide any variable inside method, that time only method can access that variable, that local variable. When we provide variable inside class, and any method or any member can access that one. That's a static variable or class variable. And we have an instance variable also. It's also inside class, but its value is per object. This is any object of that class can have a different set of value. That's an instance variable. But in static variable, it's per class. So every object of class will share only single copy of that variable. That's a static variable. Uh, it's a very important topic, variables. So in any Java program, we have to think about when we should provide local variable or when we should provide class level variable. And when we have to provide instance variable. So suppose if we have any resource that same for every object, every class, that then we will define that one as a static. And when we have to provide first name, last name, email ID, it will be different for every person. That time we will provide it as an instance variable. And when we have to provide something specific to method level, like we define one method, say hello, and inside say hello we provided one name, and that name we assign a value Ved Prakash, and after that we are printing we provided one method greetings. Inside this method we are printing system out println, say hi to this name variable. Then we will print this, or we will compile and run this program. It will print hi, and after that the value of that name variable. In our case, it's Ved Prakash, and it will print hi Ved Prakash. In this one, the specific work or specific task of that variable is only work inside that method. The only life cycle of this variable is inside greeting method. It will just hold name and just print it. For that purpose, it's we will use local variable. After that, we have arrays. Simply arrays are object that store multiple variable of same type. So sometimes we have more than one value. In first name or last name, we have only one type of name, one name. But suppose if we have to provide email ID, that time maybe as a way, because I may have a lot of email ID, more than one email ID. That maybe I have 3 or 4 email ID that we have to provide inside our class. That time we will use array. So it will hold same type of object but multiple values. And after that we have Java enums. It's introduced in Java 5. So sometimes simple example when we are providing gender information. In any class, if we are creating one person class and we have to provide after first name, last name, email ID, we have to provide gender. And in gender, we are providing like male, female, others. So in gender, we have a limited value set, 3 or 4. And if in any other class or our front end is setting this value, they may set it different way. And instead of male, female, others, they can also use male, female, transgender. So in such type of case, enum provide a constant. It's like same as a constant. In enum, we will define 3 values: male, female, others. And inside gender, we will use inside gender variable, we will use this enum. And using this enum, we are forcing our users to set only one value from these 3 values. So basically using enum, we are providing a set, and now user forced to choose from that set. So if we are using normal gender variable, that time as an end user means front end or any other class can set any value to that value. But when we are using enum, that time we have to only choose from that set, that enum values or enum fields that we provided. That one is enum. So we have an enum example. In this one, we have a class whose phrase juice. In this phrase juice, we provided enum phrase juice size small, medium, large. And after that, we have variable phrase juice size. So in this example, in this enum, we provided 3 values: small, medium, large. Now, whenever anyone is trying to set this phrase juice size, they can only set small, medium, or large. Now they cannot use any other type. So in like same example like gender, here phrase juice size will always be either small, medium, or large. Uh, any doubt? Any question, Raghav?
नो सर
समझ में आ रहा है?
हाँ जी सर.
लोकल वेरिएबल, इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल, इसमें कोई कहीं से कोई डाउट?
सर लोकल में है थोड़ा सा, स्टैटिक और नॉन स्टैटिक तो आ गया था, बट लोकल में थोड़ा सा है.
हाँ, लोकल में जैसे लोकल में कई बार कुछ ऐसे वर्क होते हैं जो मेथड स्पेसिफिक होते हैं, मींस बस स्मॉल उसी काम के लिए यूज करना होता है. जैसे हमें एक लूप बनाना है, जैसे हम 10 तक काउंट करके लूप करते हैं. अब 10 तक का जो वेरिएबल है वो एक इंट में हमें स्टोर करना है, उसके बाद वो लूप का कोई काम नहीं है. तो वहां पे जो हम इंट आई वर्ड यूज कर रहे होते हैं वो लोकल होता है वेरिएबल. अभी अगर हम एक मेथड ऐसा लिख रहे हैं जिसमें कि सिर्फ प्रिंट ही करवाना है हेलो वर्ड, और हेलो वर्ड को उससे पहले किसी वेरिएबल में अगर स्टोर करना हुआ और वो वेरिएबल दे रहे हैं, तो सिस्टम मोड प्रिंट के बाद उस वेरिएबल का कोई यूज नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है. वो मेथड स्पेसिफिक अगर हम लिख रहे हैं जिसका कि लाइफ काफी शॉर्ट होगा, तो वो लोकल वेरिएबल्स होंगे. उसका जो स्कोप होता है वो इनसाइड मेथड होता है हमेशा. समझ में आया?
हाँ जी सर.
अब एनम क्या है, हम फोर्स नहीं कर पाते हैं कई बार कि भाई तुम्हें चूज इसी सेट में से करना है. स्पेसिफिक एग्जांपल हमारे पास जेंडर वगैरह भी है, या फिर अभी ये फ्रेज जो साइज भी है. वहां क्या होता है कि हम अगर ये एक सेट प्रोवाइड कर दें स्मॉल, मीडियम, लार्ज, और जेंडर भी अगर हमें जिस तरह से भी चाहिए, मेल, फीमेल, अदर्स या ट्रांसजेंडर, तो एंड यूजर सिर्फ इसी वैल्यूज को यूज कर सकता है, वो और यूज नहीं कर सकता. ये जावा कीवर्ड्स है. So in our program we cannot use this like abstract, byte, or case as a variable name. So suppose if we are defining any variable name, string first name we can provide. First name is not part of this keyword Java keywords list. But we cannot say string long or string else or string default. So whenever we are defining any variables or any method name or anything, uh, we have to remember we cannot use any one from this list, keyword list. For any Java program, comments are a very important part where we explain about Java program. So Java program, this one is a way of providing comments. One is this one and one is this one. If we have more than one line of code, normally we will go with this, or if we have a single line of comment, we can go using this one also. So after that we have inheritance and interfaces, but we will discuss it in a very detailed manner as in next. So as Java is object-oriented programming, we have Java objects class. And inside Java as object-oriented programming, we have following fundamental concepts like polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, classes, object, instance, method, and message parsing. We will discuss one by one, but before that, we have to discuss about object. So for any Java class, when we are providing a simple Java class like say hello or hello world, system or println, that time we are not creating any object. That time it's just a class name, system or println. But for more complex projects, more complex classes, we have to provide object also. So class is normally a blueprint, a template that describes the behavior and state. But object provide a specific behavior, state and behavior both it will provide. So suppose as a class, if we are saying class dog, inside that class, if we are defining any object, that time we will provide a specific type of dog name, color. For that purpose, if we have one dog name, something like A, then we will create one object, dog A, equal to new dog. And in dog property, we will provide name, color. So class as a template or blueprint, object as a specific instance of that blueprint. So if we have a public class dog and we provided three behavior or state, string breed, int age, string color, and we have three different methods: while barking, hungry, sleeping. So in this one, this dog class name, breed, age, and color is a variable, and breaking, barking, hungry, and sleeping method name. So when we have to create any object from any class, that time we, as a Java syntax or Java programming rule, we have to provide constructor. In this one, if we provided public class puppy, then after that, this public puppy is constructed. In this one, we are following same name same like our first alphabet is capital. We provided public class puppy, then we provide public puppy, same exact same order of alphabet and same name. First alphabet is capital. So when we provide this one, it's constructed. Whenever Java or JVM will create any object, first it will invoke this constructor, and using this constructor it will create object. Um, Without any programming practice or knowledge, it may be confusing. But in Java, for creating any object, we need this one. So in this one also we have two different types. One without any argument or any value, and one is this. This one is default construction. So in same class, puppy class, if you will see public class puppy, and after that we have public puppy with string name. So this time we have constructed with one parameter name. And after that we have system out println, and after that we are printing past name is. In past name is our string part, and plus name it's a variable. That variable we are getting from string name from puppy constructor. So this one is one parameter constructor. After that we have system out println line. This line will print whatever variable we will pass inside this string name. And after that we have public static void main. And after that we are creating object. In this part, this puppy, my puppy equal to new puppy. This line will create our first object of this class. So in this public class puppy, this puppy is our class, and we are first time creating this puppy object. And when we pass this Tommy as variable, this Tommy means this line, puppy, my puppy, new puppy, will call this constructor public puppy string name. And this Tommy variable value, this line will pass this to string name. So after this line, this string name will hold value Tommy. So this constructor, public puppy string name constructor, will hold Tommy variable. And in system out println, when we will try to print this variable name, this plus name part, it's a variable name. That time it will print this value, this Tommy. So when we will run this program, it will print past name is Tommy. Any confusion in this program? Any question, Apurva? Akriti?
Thanks.
कंस्ट्रक्टर समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
So in same way, if we have to just create object without passing any variable name, that time we can provide that object reference and just constructor name. So in our this example where we created this puppy, my puppy, new puppy. This one puppy, it's a class name. My puppy is variable name. This new keyword is indicating JVM that we are creating one object of this class. This class type should be puppy, and that object value we are assigning to this my puppy variable. So in this line, first it's creating an object. That type is puppy type. Using this new keyword, it's calling this constructor public puppy string name, and using this Tommy value is passing to this constructor. Inside constructor, we are passing this value, but in this line, we are also creating one object, and that object we are assigning to this myPuppy variable. This one is one more example. This example, we define age as an int instead of a string. So when we have to provide numerical value, that time we have int double. In this one we have int puppy age, public class as a puppy. Same constructor we have like public puppy string name. In this constructor we have one parameter name. Now after that we have public void set age int age. So this part is where we are assigning value to our variable. Public void set age int age. After that we have puppy age age. So then we will create object of this puppy, and that time we will call this method. This one is method. Public is our access modifier. After that, void is our return type. This method is not returning anything. That's why we put this void. This set is a method name. After that, we have int age. It's a parameter. So whenever we will pass anything, whenever we will call this method, that time we can pass any int value. That value will be assigned to this int age. And after getting that int age, we are assigning that one to puppy age. So after this public puppy string name constructor and system out println, we define this method. So anyone, any class object in hello. So sorry. So in this example, so we have one public class puppy. After that, we have one variable name int puppy age. So this int is indicating type. So it will hold value as int. This puppy is a variable name. After that, we have public puppy string name. It's a constructor. In this constructor, we provided one parameter string name. And after that, we have a system out println line. This line will print whatever when we are creating any object of this class, that time whatever value we will pass as a string name, the system out println will print that one. After that, we have one method public void set age int age, and after that we have one line where we are assigning that age to this variable, same this puppy age variable. So this int puppy age and this puppy age both are same. So same variable name we have here. First time we provided with type, and here we provided just variable name. So up to this part, we have one constructor and one method. After that, we have one more method where we define public int get age. So after set age, we have get age. In this one, we will try to print this puppy age. So inside get age, we provided system out printer and puppy age is puppy age. So in this one, this after plus, we have same variable name. So after setter, we have a getter method. After that, we have public static void main stringers. It's for JVM. After this public static void main, we are going to create one Java object. So puppy, my puppy equal to new puppy Tommy. So we use same line. Here puppy is our class type. My puppy is our variable where this object we will hold this object after creation. This new keyword is indication that we are going to create one object, and this after this line it will call this constructor. So when this line will execute, it will call this constructor and it will pass Tommy as a string name. So after this line, we'll call this constructor and it will print past name is Tommy up to this. So this part is for constructor. After that, we have a method call. So after printing Tommy name, this part mypuppy.set age, this mypuppy.set, mypuppy is our object. This set age is our this method. So after mypuppy.set age 2, it will set this variable puppy age as a 2. So this set age is same as our method name set age. This 2 is our int age. So when we are passing this 2 to this method, this part, after this part, this age will come to here and this age variable holds value as a 2. Now this variable will assign this value So after this 2 will come to this my age, puppy age. So after calling this set age, this method will set this age, this value as this int my age as a 2. So up to this we printed this name, pass name as a name, and after it we set this 2 as a age. After that we have mypuppy.get age. So in up to this line, we already set our puppy age. So when we will call mypuppy.get age, that time it will print. This one will call get age. Inside get age, we have puppy's age as puppy age. We up to this line, we already set our puppy age value. So this line will print puppy age. And after that, we have system out println and variables value mypuppy.puppy age. So when we will compile this program, first name is Tommy, puppy's age is 2, and variable value is 2. So Raghav, in this one, this set age or get age, in set age or get age, we are calling methods. In this part, we are calling constructor. And in this part, system out println, we are printing our instance variable, mypuppy.puppy age. So inside this, where we provided system out println, that time it's inside method we provided system out println. When we provided this plus puppy age, that time same instance we are printing, but printing inside method. And here we are printing this inside class. It's not any, this line is inside class, but not inside any method. So this example is basically for method call with parameter, how to set variables, and also this one is how to call constructor. After adding this, we have this result: past name, puppy age, and variable value. So when we are writing Java class, that time we have to organize our class also. Suppose if we are writing class for our puppy or dog, and we may have to write down some code for cat also or other animal. For professional programming or enterprise programming, when we are writing codes, we may have to write codes. We are writing code for station, or maybe we have to write codes for visit also or appointment also. So we need some way to organize our codes. For that purpose, we have package. So package is nothing, it's just a folder names. So when we will provide package information, and that time Java compiler will create a separate folder for that Java code. So in this one, if you will see, we have package name, package as Java. So after package, this keyword, we can provide cat or dog or any name, any specific name. So after that, this compiler will create one folder like dog and put this class inside that folder. In this one, it's dog folder, and inside dog folder, we have this hello world Java. So in package, we organize our classes. We can provide any folder name as a Java package name. So suppose if we have few classes inside dog folder and few classes inside cat folder, and inside cat folder we need few classes from dog folder. Then in cat class we can import that file. For importing that file, we have to provide syntax like import. After that, we will provide complete package name or complete folder name dot class name. In Java also, we have a lot of classes, pre-compiled class available for our use like IO, where we provide a input output type of methods and program that we can import using import after it is space, and after that we will provide package name, and after that complete class name. So this one is one simple class, almost same like our puppy or dog example. But in this example, we have employee and we have instead of puppy name, we have a string name. We have same int age, string, and salary. We have same constructor where inside employee we are passing name. We have same method where we are assigning employee age. So this one is almost same example, but it's more close to our enterprise level programming. So suppose if we will change this employee name to patient, or if we will put this package name as a patient registration, and in string name, if we will provide our MDTS variable name, int age, string, designation, and salary. So basically, we are writing patient registration code here. So in this one, we have to provide such type of class for patient registration. We will write down same class where we will provide set age, get age. We have system out println for name, printing age, salary. We will run this program. That time we will get name, age, designation, and salary printed. So in this one, in this class, we are not setting any name. Yes, we provided this variable, we provided method, but inside this class we are not creating object. For creating object, we created a separate class. We named it employee test class. So in one class, we provided methods, we provided variables, but other class will call this class. So we created one other class, employee test. In this employee test class, we provided our public static void main. This class, we have not provided any public static void main. We just define our public class employee. After that, we have variables, we have constructor, we have method name. But we created another class where we provided public static void main. Inside this class, we are creating object. So when you are creating employee object, you may have more than one employee, you may have more than one patient. So here we are, for example, we are creating two employee objects. The employee is our template. So using that template, same class, we have employee one. Using new keyword, we are calling constructor. And this James Smith or Mary Ann, it's a variable name we are passing to constructor. First, we created employee one. After that, we created employee two. Using this constructor calling or this new keyword, we already, at the time of creating object, we already assigned name, employee name. Now we have to assign age. So after this object creation, we will call method employee age. So this object and after that dot and method name and this passing value will call this class, this method, this part. So from different class, we created object of a different class. Using new keyword, we assign a variable name. And after that, using method, we assign age and a different value like salary. And after that, we have a print employee method also using same object we call print employee also. Same thing we repeated for employee two. We set age, resignation, salary, and print employee. When we will run this, we will compile this, and when we will run this class, we will get this name, age, salary for employee one and employee two. So in this class for variable setting, we are using constructor also and method also. So for setting any variable values, we have two different ways. One is using constructor and one using method. So when we have to set variable name at the creation time, whenever we are creating object, and that time only we want to pass value. That time we will use constructor. And when after creating object using method, we have to create a set value. That time we can use method. So normally we can use any way, method way also and constructor way also. So in this example, so when we provided public employee constructor, that time we only passed single parameter, string name. So if we want, we can provide a comma. After that, we can also provide a string age, salary. So whatever we variable we set using method, we can also provide here also, and we can set variable at object creation time also. Or same name, instead of this age, we can also provide one more method where we can set this name also. So we have both way. We using constructor also we can set variable value, or we using methods also we can set variables values. So in normal day-to-day programming, so suppose if we are creating registration a simple registration module or program. That time, if we are providing any front end as a web or as a graphical user interface for desktop, that time using that GUI, graphical user interface from desktop or from front end HTML, normal HTML, we will take this employee name or patient first name, last name, age. In backend, it will call this class, something like this class, where we define variables, name, age. And this, where we are collecting that information, first name, last name, or age, that class will create one object of this employee or patient class. And using method or constructor, it completely depend upon the programmer choice. We can set all variables name to that class. And once that class will set that value to that variable. After it's up to programmer's choice if that programmer wants to print that as a system out println in console or wants to use any database to store that data. So using same class, if we have to create one very simple registration system. On top of this, we will provide HTML. Inside this class, we will collect that information from front end and using same method constructor, same system out println, and we can print, or we have to write down few more line of code for database, and we can store that value into database also. It's a very basic building block of program where we are using variables. So in this program, we are mainly looking to variable assignment, how we are assigning value to variables. So after that, we have Java basic data type. But before that, any question on variables, constructor, method calling, Raghav, Apurva, Akriti? Any confusion?
तो void का मतलब क्या हुआ जब हम void लिखते हैं?
हेलो, आवाज नहीं आ रही राघव?
No.
Sir, Raghav wants to ask कि void का मतलब क्या हुआ?
ये हमारे पास मेथड नेम है. जब हम मेथड लिख रहे होते हैं तो हमारे पास ऑप्शन होता है कि जब मेथड को कोई कॉल कर रहा है, जैसे इसे इस मेथड को यहाँ पे हम कॉल कर रहे हैं इस ऑब्जेक्ट से, ये कॉल किया जा रहा है ना, ये ऑब्जेक्ट बना, ये मेथड को कॉल किया गया. तो जो कॉलिंग ऑब्जेक्ट है वो चाहे तो एक रिटर्न टाइप रिसीव कर सकता होता है. जैसे ये मेथड है हमारे पास, इसमें तो हम एक काफी सिंपल करवा रहे हैं कि बस नेम वगैरह को प्रिंट करवाना है या साइन करना है. मान लो यहाँ पे एक मेथड नेम हो कैलकुलेट, और इसके अंदर में हम कुछ कैलकुलेट करवा रहे हो, 2 इंट हम दे रहे हैं 5 और 2, और आफ्टर दैट हम प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं इस मेथड में कि 5 + 2 क्या होगा. 5 + 2 हमारा 7 होगा. तो जो इस मेथड को कॉल कर रहा है, जिस कैलकुलेट इस मेथड को, उसे वो इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए होगा कई बार, जैसे कि उस मेथड उस ऑब्जेक्ट को प्रिंट करना है कि कैलकुलेट होके क्या आएगा. तो वो कॉलिंग ऑब्जेक्ट पास करेगा 2 पैरामीटर्स, 2 वैल्यूज. इनसाइड मेथड हम उस पे जो भी बेसिक हमें कैलकुलेट करना है करेंगे, और वो मेथड को अगर वो रिटर्न करना है वैल्यू, एक मेथड के अंदर कोई भी मीनिंगफुल वर्क, अब यहाँ पे कोई मीनिंगफुल ऐसा हम कर नहीं रहे हैं एक वेरिएबल असाइन के अलावा, लेकिन जब कोई मीनिंगफुल वर्क वो कर रहा होगा मेथड, तो उसे रिटर्न करना होगा एक वैल्यू. तो ही फायदा है उस मेथड से. मींस नॉर्मली इस केस में तो सिंपल वेरिएबल सेटिंग है, पर रियल लाइफ में मेथड ढेर सारे काम करते हैं. नॉर्मल जैसे मैंने एग्जांपल दिया कैलकुलेट का, उसमें कैलकुलेट कर रहे होते हैं, हम वेब वगैरह में प्रोग्राम लिख रहे होते हैं जिसमें HTML फाइल के नेम प्रोवाइड कर रहे होते हैं, तो उस टाइम में हमें बताना होगा, जैसे कि हम अगर 2 नंबर्स इंट लेकर के उसको हम कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, ऐड कर रहे हैं, और रिटर्न टाइप अगर हमारा इंट है, तो ये यहाँ पे void की जगह इंट आ जाएगा। ये बताता है कि रिटर्न टाइप क्या होगा। इस मेथड को जो भी कॉल करेगा और ये मेथड जब रिटर्न कर रही होगी, उस कॉलिंग को जो रिजल्ट मिलेगा उसका टाइप ये बता रहा होगा। ये इंट भी हो सकता है, स्ट्रिंग भी हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, ये रिटर्न टाइप पे डिपेंड करेगा। जब हम void बोल रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब है कि ये मेथड कुछ भी रिटर्न नहीं करेगा। क्लियर राघव? हेलो? हेलो राघव?
हेलो।
राघव, ये क्लास है, जैसे इसमें हम जैसे डबल आर हमारे पास है जिसमें हम सम कर रहे हैं, डबल ए डबल बी है, तो यहाँ पे देखो ये मेथड के आगे हमने डबल दिया है void की जगह पे। क्यों? क्योंकि ये डबल सम करने के बाद सम a प्लस बी है, ए और बी जो है यहाँ पे मेरे पास वैल्यू आ रहे हैं ना मेथड में। जब हम ये कैलकुलेशन कर रहे हैं, जब हम डबल कर रहे हैं, तो उसके बाद हमें रिटर्न करना पड़ रहा है ये सम को। ये सम जिस टाइप का होगा वो टाइप हमें यहाँ डिफाइन करना होगा। तो अगर हम कुछ रिटर्न कर रहे होंगे तो हमें वहां पे वही देना होगा। और अगर हम रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट, ये स्टेटमेंट अगर रिटर्न का नहीं लिख रहे हैं, हम कुछ मेथड के अंदर नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो यहाँ पे हम void देंगे।
ठीक है सर। हाँ जी सर।
ठीक है? ये डबल की जगह इंट, स्ट्रिंग कुछ भी हो सकता है, मेथड पे डिपेंड करता है, पर अगर रिटर्न हम कर रहे हैं तो रिटर्न का जो टाइप होगा वो हमारे पास वहां पे होगा, जो वहां पे प्रोवाइड कर रहे होंगे। ठीक है?
हाँ जी।
So in Java, we have basic data type. Now, when we are saying about string or int or double, that time we are mainly talking about data type. We have two different type. One is primitive, one is reference or object data type. Inside primitive data type, we have byte. Normally, it's not very, it's not used. It's not very popular. Sort. After that, we have int. For age, we are using int. In data type is 32-bit signed. We have minimum value, maximum value. Generally, we are using this as a default data type for integer value. Default value is 0. Long when we are dealing with database and we are providing database ID, primary key, and we have to deal with very long ID, means maybe more than maximum value, this maximum value. That time we can use long. Normally use in JP or Hibernate, we use long instead of int. After that, we have float data type. After that, we have double, like 123.4 example. For decimal value we have double float. When we have to provide only two possible value, true or false, that time we have boolean. Like in any program we have to provide account is active or not active, that time we have boolean for that information. After that we have char for character, short for char data type, but mainly instead of char we use string. So after that we have reference data type. In reference data type, if we are creating any object like animal, new animal, that time this animal, this variable, this one will act as a data type. So this one is example, main example. So if we have to write down byte inside our Java program, that time this one is our Java keyword for byte. Byte. After that we have variable name, and after that value, and this one is semicolon. So if we have to define any primitive data type, we will use this type of syntax. The syntax is same for any variable. The difference is this type. This type you will provide that type. So if it's byte, you will provide byte. Decimal will provide int, octal, int, hexa, int. This one is a string. The sequence of our character, when double quote, it's a string. So we already define string names or hello world. So when we have to provide localization or translation, so if we are providing a website in English and we want to translate that one into Spanish or something, or Chinese character, that time we can use Unicode also. So in string A, we can provide this Unicode. As a carry also, we can provide this Unicode. And after that, in string, we have different special escape sequence. So if we have to provide new lines, that time we will use this notation. We have to format, then we have F backspace B. For space, we have S. Suppose if we have to format something as a tab separate value, that time we have T. For double quote, we have this one. So inside system out println, if we have to format our string like hello world, that time we can use any of the notation. Now in this chapter we have more detailed discussion about Java variable types. So suppose instead of int age, we have to define more than one value, int a, b, or c. So in Java, instead of writing int a semicolon, int b semicolon, int c, you can declare all three variables inside one line. In one single line, you can define a also, b also, c also. But a, b, or and c, all three should be same type. If we have int a semicolon, after we have int b semicolon, after int c semicolon, then we can define it in single line, int a, b, c. But suppose if we have int a or string and after string b, that time we cannot define in same line. In same line, if we have to define, data types will be same. And after that, we can also use int a equal to 10, and after that, we can use b equal to 10. In first line, we have variable name. In second line, we have value also. Int a equal to 10, so we we are defining int type and value also. So using this int ABC and int A equal to 10 or B equal to 10, we can define and assign values to variables. So again, we have local variables, instance variable, and class static variables. So in this example, where we have public class test and public void pub age, we define this int age 0. After that, we have age equal to age plus 7, and after that, we have system out printer and puppy age is age. So rather, we will look into this code. This int age is inside our method pup age. It's not inside class test. It's not just after class test. It's after pup age, after method. So this variable declaration is inside method name. And we are using this int age inside our system out println. So this int age, this variable is local variable. This local variable scope is limited inside our method. The only purpose is providing this variable, assigning this to 0, after it adding 7 and printing this one. So this one is our local variable. In next line, we provided public static void main. After that, we provided object of same class, test, new test. After that, test dot per page, it will print 7. This example is showing the use of local method, the local variable. The only problem is when we are using local variable, that time when we are defining that variable, we have to provide a default value also. When we are using instance variable, that time we can just define that variable. But when we are defining local variable, that time we have to provide a default value also. So it's almost same example, but in this example we have int age equal to 0. We provided one default value. But in this one, we just define this int age. After that, we have semicolon. We have not provided any default value in this example. And all other codes lines are same. But when we will try to compile this, it will give a compiler error. It will give variable number might not have been initialized. So the problem with local variable is whenever you are going to define local variable, you have to provide something, some default value. But when you are going to define instance variable, that time you can just define instance variable. Don't need to provide any default value. After that, we have instance variable. Instance variable, when we are defining instance variable, that time we are just saying, okay, this one is our class, this one is our variable, like name or age. Whoever will create this object of this class will use this variable. They will keep a separate copy of that variable. So for every object, we have a separate copy of variable. So when we are saying string name and int age of class person, that time whoever will create object of that person class will provide a value, separate value. Person name, first copy maybe Ved Prakash, first name. Next object may have a value Apurva. Third object may have a value Raghav. So every object keep a separate value set, separate variable values. So in instance variable, scope is for object, complete object. For local variable, scope is for method. But instance variable, it's for object. Whenever we are creating any object, that time we are assigning that variable to object. We have one copy available to that object. Now that object will either using any setter method, getter method, any method, it will assign at variable value, or using constructor, it will pass any value and assign that to that variable. So in this example, we have an employee class, and after employee class, we have public string name. This variable, this name variable, is instance variable. After that, we have one more variable, salary, instance variable. So one is public, one is private. So when we provided public access modifier, any other class creating object of this class employee can access this variable. But when we provided this private, only this class, inside this class, any object can access the salary. So in instance variable, we can provide access modifier also. We cannot provide access modifier inside local method because scope is limited to method. But in instance variable, scope is global. That's why we have access modifier. So based on our requirement, when we are designing any class, when we are providing variable, that time we will think about scope of that variable, and based on that scope, we will provide public or private or protected access modifier. So in this example, we provided print method, we provided main. So in this main, inside this public static void main, we are creating one object, employee one. In new employee, we provided name, salary, and after it, this method, print method. So in this case, when we are calling set salary, and salary is private, so this will run. This example will run because we are calling inside the same class. This object and this method call is inside same class. So even if it's private, it will print. But if we will create one other class, and when we will try to call that one, that private part will not run. That public will run. Public variable we can call from another class also, but private only inside this class. The salary variable is visible in employee class only. This name is visible to any child class. And after that, we have class static variable. So class variables are also known as static variables, and it's declared with static keyword. So sometime, suppose we have a Java class, and in Java class we have to connect database. So that database resource every class will use. Means we have sometime like in our office we have one printer. Everyone will use that printer. So sometimes we have such type of resource or variable that every object, every class will use. For such type of variable or field name, we use static variable or class variable. When we define class variable, we use static keyword. So if we have a database connection, then we'll use static after that connection variable name. So in class variable or static variable, it's always a single copy. In instance variable case, we have per copy per object, but in this one, like laptop per, in our office, laptop per employee, but printer as a complete whole department or complete office. Same way, our class or static variable is single for every object, single copy. So there would only be one copy of each class variable per class, regardless of how many objects are created from it. So normally it's used as a constant, and mainly when we have to create some resource like database connection, or when we have to read any file, that time we mainly use such type of variable where it's expensive to create more than one copy. Normally, static variables are created when the program is start and destroyed when the program stops. Visibility is very similar to instance variable. It's the same like a variable visibility. But mostly we define it as a public, because it's mainly when we define a static variable or class variable, we define it as a resource. As a single resource everyone can use. So normally we provide a global access modifier like public. So anyone can use that one. Anyone means any class. Default values are same as instance variable. For number, it will default value will be 0. For boolean, it will be false. So for practical purpose, it's same like instance variable. Just a single copy. Single copy per object. Instance variable, one copy per object, and local just for method. We have one example, same employee example. In this one, we have public static double salary. After that, we have department as a constant. So we define public static final string department. So we use this static keyword. So this development is static here. So when we are printing this system or println department average salary, that time we have only one copy of this. So now we will discuss about same public private modifier. Any doubt? Anyone? Akriti? Raghav?
No, sir. ये पढ़ना पड़ेगा दोबारा से तभी
पूछो पूछो कहीं पे जहाँ पे डाउट है पूछो.
नहीं सर अभी तो कोई नहीं है.
नहीं जैसे ऑफिस में ही हमारे पास प्रिंटर जो है वो देख सकते हो ना रिसोर्स. इस तरह की चीजें कई बार होती है जो शेयर नहीं की जा सकती है, पर कॉपी नहीं हो सकती है. वहां पे हम इस तरह की चीजें लेते हैं स्टैटिक पर क्लास में. कई बार ऐसे वेरिएबल्स यूज करने होते हैं जो मेथड के बाद फिर कोई सेंस नहीं बन रहा होता है आगे यूज करने का, वहां पे हम लोकल ले रहे होते हैं. और जो हर ऑब्जेक्ट को चाहिए होता है नॉन इंस्टेंस ले रहे होते हैं. अभी इस तरह के क्लास अगर लिखते हो जहाँ पे फर्स्ट नेम लास्ट नेम और वो सब चीजें लेनी हो, या फिर अपॉइंटमेंट डेट लेना हो, या फिर इस तरह की चीजें जहाँ पे वैल्यूज रखने हो, वो इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल नॉर्मल वे में यूज होगा. मेनली जावा में कोई भी प्रोग्राम लिखने के लिए सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी यही है कि क्लास और ऑब्जेक्ट इन दोनों के बीच जो डिफरेंस है वो क्रिस्टल क्लियर होना चाहिए पहला. उसके बाद ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों क्रिएट होता है वो पता होना चाहिए कि हम क्यों कर रहे हैं. आज हम लिख पहले दें कि ये सिंटैक्स है, न्यू यूज कर दिया हमने और ये एक बन के आ गया क्लास, पर ये क्लास से ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों बनाना पड़ा. क्योंकि क्लास ब्लूप्रिंट था, उससे हमने एक ऑब्जेक्ट सिर्फ इसलिए बनाया है कि हम बोल सकते हैं कि ये एम्प्लॉय होगा, एम्प्लॉय के फर्स्ट नेम लास्ट नेम ईमेल आईडी होंगे. लेकिन प्रैक्टिकल ये है कि वो एम्प्लॉय सिर्फ बोलने से वो एक बस ये पता चलता है कि हाँ ये होता है ऐसा एम्प्लॉय जैसा. और जब हम बोलते हैं एम्प्लॉय रियल एम्प्लॉय की बात करते हैं, जैसे हम एक्सेस हेल्थ की एम्प्लॉय की बात करेंगे, तो हमें स्पेसिफाई करना होगा वेद प्रकाश राघव आकृति। तो यहाँ पे राघव आकृति या वेद प्रकाश ये ऑब्जेक्ट है, ये स्पेसिफिक इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है, ये एक एम्प्लॉय का जो प्रैक्टिकल जो रियल जो फेस है वो है। जब हम एज एम्प्लॉय क्लास बोल रहे होते हैं कि ये फर्स्ट नेम लास्ट नेम है, तो सिर्फ ये बोल रहे थे कि अरे नेम होगा फर्स्ट नेम लास्ट नेम। लेकिन जब हम बोल रहे होते हैं कि वेद फर्स्ट नेम है और ईमेल वेद डॉट समथिंग है, एज 34 है, तो उस टाइम में जो है वो स्पेसिफिक विजुअलाइजेशन हो रहा है। उस टाइम में यहाँ पे क्या है कि नेम जो वेरिएबल था क्लास लेवल के ऊपर एक डिफिनेशन था, डिफाइन किया गया था, पर वो रियल एक्चुअल वैल्यू वो एक कॉपी। अब देखो वही सेम जो हम टेम्पलेट बोल रहे हैं, एम्प्लॉय बोल रहे हैं, उसमें हमने तो डिफाइन किया है कि ये ईमेल आईडी है, एज है, पर उसका जो एक कॉपी है वो पर कॉपी, जैसे मेरे लिए जब बात होगी तो मेरे साथ भी वो एसोसिएटेड है वो वेरिएबल एज, राघव के साथ भी होगा, आकृति के साथ भी होगा, वो कॉपी है, एक एक वैल्यू सबके साथ है सेम उसी का। लेकिन हमारी अगर बात होती है डिपार्टमेंट की, तो हम एक डिजिटल हेल्थ से हैं, वो एक हमारी क्लास लेवल डिफिनेशन है, वो सबका सेम है, उसके लिए अलग अलग कॉपी की जरूरत नहीं है, हम बोल सकते हैं कि अरे सब डिजिटल हेल्थ से हम तीनों। तो यही है मेन क्लास, ऑब्जेक्ट और वेरिएबल्स। और मेन कंफ्यूजिंग कॉन्सेप्ट है कंस्ट्रक्टर का, कंस्ट्रक्टर के कॉलिंग का, और कंस्ट्रक्टर को कॉल करने के टाइम में ही जो हम वेरिएबल को असाइन कर देते हैं, ये रियली फर्स्ट टाइम में कंफ्यूजिंग है, और बिना प्रोग्राम में देखे समझना रियली और भी मुश्किल है। और प्रोग्रामिंग तो कम्प्लीटली प्रैक्टिस की चीज है, और हम बिना प्रैक्टिस के और हम लोग यहाँ तक आ गए और अभी एक लाइन का प्रोग्राम नहीं लिखा गया है, तो सच्चाई तो ये है कि समझने में प्रॉब्लम तो होगी है। फिर भी अगर लग रहा हो स्पीड ज्यादा हो तो मैं बैक में ही जाता हूँ, या फिर और कुछ और कॉन्सेप्ट पीछे ही हम कंस्ट्रक्टर वगैरह को देखते हैं। और
तो अभी तो ठीक है, एक बार जब हम प्रोग्राम पे सर जब रन करेंगे तब थोड़ा अलग समझ आएगा, जब हम खुद लिख के करेंगे ना तब थोड़ा ज्यादा क्लियर होता है।
हाँ वो तो है, फिर भी अभी इस क्लास से मिनिमम एक ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना, एक सिंपल क्लास का जो सिंटैक्स है वो समझो, और उसके बाद वेरिएबल डिफाइन करना कम से कम, या फिर हम मेथड कैसे सेट करते हैं। वैसे ये भी काफी ज्यादा है 2 घंटे में, नॉर्मली जावा वगैरह के क्लासेस तो 6-6 महीने चलते हैं। तो चलो हमारे पास 5 मिनट और बचे हुए हैं, तो इसमें ही जो है फिर से हम लोग देखते हैं। तो ये क्लियर है कि कैसे इंस्टॉल किया जाता है जावा।
हाँ जी सर।
होम पाथ सेट करना सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, और वो सेट होना ही चाहिए, ठीक है। तो भी डायरेक्टरी होगी जेडीके की, उस डायरेक्टरी तक का पाथ हमें देना होगा इन्वायरमेंट वेरिएबल्स में, सिस्टम इन्वायरमेंट वेरिएबल्स में बीन तक के पाथ हमारे पास होने चाहिए। अगर वो नहीं होगा तो हमारा जावा कंपाइल नहीं होगा, ना इक्लिप्स आईडी या कोई भी ऐसा कोई भी प्रोग्राम जो जावा पे होगा, जिसे जावा चाहिए होगा, रन नहीं करेगा। कभी भी जावा इंस्टॉल करने के बाद हमें ये करना होगा। जावा 2 तरह की होती है, एक तो हमारा जो जावा नॉर्मल जो है ओरेकल के अंडर में है जीपीएल में, लेकिन काफी लोग, बहुत सारे लोग ओरेकल से खुश नहीं है या ओरेकल के लाइसेंस पॉलिसी से हैप्पी नहीं रहते हैं। तो हमारे पास ओपन जेडीके के नाम पे एक कंप्लीट ओपन सोर्स प्रोजेक्ट भी इक्वल है, वैसा ही सेम और मच बेटर है इस ओरेकल जावा से। तो अगर इंस्टॉल करना हो तो इस ओरेकल जावा की जगह ओपन जेडीके भी इंस्टॉल हो सकता है। प्रैक्टिकल पर्पज से दोनों सेम है, सेम जैसे माईसीक्वल और मारियाडीबी है। उसके बाद नॉर्मली या तो हम नोटपैड यूज कर सकते हैं या फिर एक्लिप्स यूज कर सकते हैं। एक्लिप्स यूज करना ज्यादा आसान होगा, क्योंकि एक सिंगल प्लेस पे वो हम प्रोग्राम लिख सकते हैं, कंपाइल कर सकते हैं, आउटपुट दे सकते हैं। पर अगर एक्लिप्स नहीं है या फिर लैपटॉप ऐसा है जैसे आकृति वगैरह का, जो एक्लिप्स नहीं झेल पाएगा, एक्लिप्स इंस्टॉल नहीं हो पाएगा उसमें, तो वहाँ पे हम नॉर्मल जो है टेक्स्ट एडिटर में या नॉर्मल कोई भी नोटपैड में नोट लिख करके और नेम जो है वो हम सेम वही जो जावा प्रोग्राम का होगा वही नेम देना होगा। एक्सटेंशन लेकिन डॉट जावा देना ही देना होगा। एक्सटेंशन अगर भी नॉर्मली ना दिखे तो फोल्डर ऑप्शन में व्यू में जाके हमें एक्सटेंशन ऑन करने होंगे, फिर हमें कंपाइल करना होगा और हम उससे एक्सटेंशन चाहिए ही चाहिए होगा जावा कंपाइल टाइम में। लेकिन जब रन कर रहे होंगे तो एक्सटेंशन तक पूरा टाइप करने की जरूरत नहीं है। फर्स्ट प्रोग्राम जब भी हम डिफाइन करेंगे पब्लिक क्लास, उसके बाद हमें उस प्रोग्राम का जो भी हम नाम देना चाहें वो देंगे, कुछ भी दे सकते हैं, पर फर्स्ट लेटर कैपिटल होना चाहिए। फिर कमेंट, नॉर्मली ये कमेंट देना दे हमारे ऊपर होता है, पर एक अच्छी प्रैक्टिस है कि हमें कमेंट देनी चाहिए। फिर उसके बाद हमें ये पब्लिक स्टैटिक वॉइड में स्ट्रिंग आर्ग्स देना ही देना है। ये हम जेवीएम के लिए देते हैं। जेवीएम को इससे पता चलता है कि प्रोग्राम का स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट क्या है। जेवीएम जब ये फाइल को स्कैन करेगी रन करवाने के लिए, सबसे पहले पब्लिक स्टैटिक वॉइड मेन को सर्च करेगी। तो ये लाइन हमें लिखना ही लिखना है। इस लाइन में हमारा पब्लिक जो फर्स्ट पार्ट है वो बताता है कि इस मेथड का जो एक्सेस मॉडिफायर है पब्लिक है, इसे कोई भी एक्सेस कर सकता है क्लास। स्टैटिक जैसे हमने बोला कि इस मेथड का सिर्फ एक कॉपी बनेगा, ये क्लास लेवल पे लिखा गया है, क्लास के लिए, इसलिए स्टैटिक कीवर्ड यूज किया गया। वॉइड इसका मतलब है कि इस मेथड का कोई रिटर्न टाइप नहीं होगा। मेन का मतलब है कि ये मेन मेथड है, ये मेन यहाँ पे मेथड का नाम है। उसके बाद ये जब हमने ये दिया है, इसके अंदर जो हमने स्ट्रिंग अर्थ दिया है, इसका मतलब है कि इस मेथड का ये पैरामीटर स्ट्रिंग है एरे, और उस ये स्ट्रिंग टाइप है वेरिएबल जो हम लेंगे ये एरे है, और वो हम वेरिएबल को इस आर्ग्स के अंदर, ये वेरिएबल का नाम है आर्गुमेंट्स के शॉर्ट फॉर्म के लिए, उसमें स्टोर कर रहे हैं। जब हम ये यहाँ इतना कर लेंगे तो इसका मतलब हुआ कि हमारे पास एक बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक, एक बेसिक क्लास का आ गया है। अब हमारे पास जो रियल जो हम कुछ करना चाहते हैं उस क्लास से, वो ये लाइन है। उसके बाद हमने ये टाइप किया है सिस्टम डॉट आउट प्रिंटलन। ये सिस्टम आउट प्रिंटलन, ये फिर सिस्टम जो एक क्लास है आउट, उसके अंदर का मेथड प्रिंटलन यहाँ तक है। ये जब हम कॉल करते हैं, इसके बाद हम इसको लिखने के बाद सिस्टम आउट प्रिंटलन के बाद इसके अंदर जो भी स्ट्रिंग हम पास करेंगे वो हम प्रिंट करवा सकते होते हैं, वो प्रिंट हो जाएगा। प्रिंट एलन का मतलब है कि जितनी बार भी ये लाइन रन करेगा ये न्यू लाइन में रन करेगा। सिर्फ प्रिंट तक हम इसे लिखते तो इसका मतलब होता है कि सेम लाइन में लिखेगा। उसके बाद हमने जो भी ओपन किया था उसे क्लोज करेंगे और इसे कंपाइल करेंगे और ये हेलो वर्ल्ड रन करेगा। तो जावा लर्निंग के टाइम में सबसे पहले ये टेम्पलेट, जो बेसिक टेम्पलेट है, हमेशा माइंड में होना चाहिए। इससे सबसे बड़ी चीज है कि इसमें से कोई भी कुछ भी छूटा, एक सेमी कॉलम कॉलम कहीं भी कुछ भी छूटता है प्रोग्राम रन नहीं करेगा। पब्लिक स्टैटिक वॉइड मेन स्ट्रिंग का जो सिंटैक्स है वो थोड़ा सा भी मिस हुआ, कैपिटल की जगह स्मॉल हुआ, रन नहीं करेगा। एक सबसे बेसिक जावा प्रोग्राम हमेशा याद रखना होगा, मेमोरी में होना होगा। जब भी हमें प्रोग्राम लिखना होगा इस पार्ट तक हमें लिखना ही लिखना है। उसके बाद हम अपना रियल जो भी हमें इम्प्लीमेंट करना है यहाँ इस लाइन से स्टार्ट करेंगे। इस तरीके से राघव करना, और मिनिमम इस प्रोग्राम को रन करो, इस प्रोग्राम के साथ कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंट करो और नए लाइंस लिखो। फिर दोबारा हमें देखना है कि क्लास है तो फिर ऑब्जेक्ट कैसे बन रहा है, वेरिएबल्स कैसे डिफाइन कर रहे हैं, और ये काफी बेसिक है। इसके बाद फिर मेथड ओवरराइडिंग है, ओवरलोडिंग है, एक्सेप्शंस है, इनहेरिटेंस है, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लासेज है, इंटरफेस है, फिर सारी चीजें हैं इस पे हम डिस्कस करेंगे। पर उससे पहले एक्सेस टाइप और वेरिएबल्स वगैरह के कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर होना काफी जरूरी है। ठीक है राघव, तो प्रैक्टिस करो। और आकृति के लिए हमारे पास ट्यूटोरियल्स पॉइंट वगैरह पे ऑनलाइन कंपाइलर्स भी अवेलेबल हैं। अगर हम नहीं कर सकते हैं इंस्टॉल, अगर लैपटॉप वगैरह वैसा नहीं है, तो हम कोई भी ऑनलाइन कंपाइलर, हम लोग अगर गूगल पे सर्च करें ऑनलाइन जावा कंपाइलर तो हमें कंपाइलर मिल जाएगा जहां हम रन कर सकते हैं प्रोग्राम।
Okay, sir.
एनी क्वेश्चन? So this one is our static variable. class level where we define public static final string department, and any other object will use same this department, this part in a single copy. So any other object will not create a separate copy. They will use same this variable storage only. So whenever we are providing anything as a static and final, normally we use it as a constant, and for constant we use complete capital letters, uppercase. In this one, this department, we have uppercase alphabets. So in next class, in afternoon, we will learn about Java modifier type, abstract class, and interfaces. For today, that's all.
Thank you, sir.